Well, hello.
Hello again.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling this wine is almost a bit of a hair of the dog moment. But
Erin, tell me more.
A hair of the 3-day-old dog.
Oh. Well, that fits with what we're just about to talk about.
I know, but I feel like I've had like a brilliant weekend, so much fun. I went out, lots of laughing and probably a few too many drinks. And God, has it taken me some time to come back down to earth and like wake up again. And like this conversation is so fitting, as you say. Like we were talking about this already in terms of like, I can't believe I'm at that stage of my life where I'm feeling older and coming off a fun weekend and taking so much time to get over my hangover. Am I that old now where I cannot have more than 5 GNTs and feel fine?
Do you know what? It's funny. I think there's certain drinks I can drink, like I can do the marathon.
Right.
You know, like
Start us
weddings.
off.
Do you know what I mean? Like weddings when you're like all day and they tempt you with different little drinks all the way through. Nuh-uh. I stick with one. I choose one beverage and I go all the way through and I can last the course.
What's your one drink?
It can be gin.
Yes.
It can be bubbles or it can be wine. Those 3, I can last the course, but I have to stay true to one. So it's like, you know, if they start me off on a champagne, I've got to go the whole way through. I've got to do the whole night on it.
For you.
I know. First world problems. But like if I start on like an aperitif, I've got to stick with it because that's when I know I can do it. Whereas if I start mixing up and having like a little champagne glass here and a little gin there and wine at dinner and let's have a digestif after dinner. No, I'm gone by 9 o'clock. I'm in bed.
That's dangerous. But I thought I was being so sensible. So I did. Out of your book, you know, I took the G&T, but, you know, maybe larger measures, and then it was like measured, and then it was into like a G&T tin because it was that sort of venue.
Oh, God.
So like one thing leads to another, and then you wish you maybe didn't have those final 2, but I'm feeling semi-okay now.
Okay, so it was at the weekend.
Yes.
And today is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that is, I kind of feel you because it's that time frame, isn't it? It's kind of like you're just getting back to normal. It takes a good few days now.
And when you factor in, you know, when you were younger, you went out for drinks, you had a hangover, you would literally slob all day on the sofa in front of the TV. No. My kids were up at 6 a.m. They needed to go swimming. They needed to go wherever else. So it just elongates it. And then just your general busyness just makes things harder. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is...
Absolutely.
I can't believe I'm feeling this old.
I know.
That's it. So what's your thing? Like what makes you feel old now?
Oh, what's that thing? I think, do you know what? It might be a little abstract, but I think it's that I've got to that stage in my life where I don't know what I'm wearing.
Okay.
I've literally lost my sense of style and sense of self in my wardrobe. Yeah. So I'm now looking at my wardrobe going, oh my God, I used to love that. I would never wear that now. And literally it was something like a t-shirt. And so it would, you know, it wasn't something like low cleavage, you know, it wasn't anything like sexy or anything like that. It just, I don't know, there's just something that's changed where now I can't dress for me, for who I am now.
So is it now more like comfort over style, or is it you don't know what your style
I think
is?
I've lost that style. So I think it's like obviously, through COVID, we all got a little bit comfy with our comfies.
Yeah.
We all became a bit friendly with the, you know, the bed socks and the leggings.
What was that look that they like coined throughout COVID where you would like basically wear pajamas for work?
Yeah.
I can't even remember what they called that style of clothing, but it had like a proper name to it. I can't even remember what it was called. Like, not pajamas or athleisure, but it was something like that.
Yeah. I'll think about it tomorrow. I'll remember tomorrow. But I think that's where I've lost sort of my sense of like, not like a capsule wardrobe as such, but like my pieces don't seem to fit anymore. And it's really weird because like when I was in my 20s and 30s, I'd just be able to grab something and like, Fix was ready.
Yeah.
You know, I was ready going into London, like, I feel fine. But now I'm like, I literally spend 15 minutes going, well, that doesn't go with that. Why did I get that? What's that going to go with now? I'm not sure. And I start questioning myself. And then I'm like, and what jewellery do I wear with that now? And, you know, obviously I've evolved and I get that. And, you know, time has moved on and, you know, fashion trends have gone. Not that I was particularly a trend follower, but it just, it's trying to find, I think, a style that makes me feel me now.
Yeah.
Because I'm in my early 40s. So, you know, trying to find a style that I guess suits being a mum, you know, someone who, you know, is a working mum, someone who still wants a sense of fun about them. But then, I don't know, there's more of a...
Is mum a style though?
Oh,
because I love how you've said, you know, I find my style because I'm a mum, I'm a working mum. Like to me, when I think of that, I'm like leggings and a t-shirt.
Well, I'll tell you what, I call like a mum style is so you know my hair's down now. When I'm dealing with the kids, I can't have my hair down. So this is quite a treat for when we do this because I can put my hair down. Whereas when the kids are around, I can't. So that's like the mum bun and shoving your hair up. You know, that to me is like the mum style is that I've got to have my hair up. I can't not. That's no question.
So that's what makes you feel like older because you've like lost that sense of
like,
self there.
I can't style my hair anymore because it just gets shoved up in a bun.
Yeah.
Like there's no point. You know, makeup's different because again, you're just going to smudge it because you've got like, I don't know, a 5-year-old crawling all over your head.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
And actually the styling thing is really funny because I feel like for me, I flip between, you know, trying to dress to look like more mature or like, I don't know, more professional or whatever. And then trying to dress to look more fun without trying to look like a child. And then you put things on and you think, oh, that would look nice. And then you're like, oh, I look like a really badly dressed 13-year-old or do you know what I mean? Or that would look great on somebody like half my age because that's not sort of suiting me right now.
So when you went out, obviously when you had your fun night out the other night, were you confident? Were you happy with your choice of clothing? Did you feel yourself?
Do you know what I did? Because I've always been a jeans and a nice top sort of gal. You know, one of those
classic.
That classic jeans and a nice top sort of person. And that look sort of just like carried me through. So I did feel confident, but it was a quite relaxed environment.
Oh, fine.
So it wasn't anything where I was like dressing up for. But I do find the dressing up thing really difficult because like you're dressing for your age, you're dressing for how you feel, all of that sort of stuff. But for me, the do I feel old thing, apart from not being able to manage the hangovers, is, you know, when you're, I don't know, like getting ready in the morning or taking your makeup off at night and you're in those really close mirrors and you're like, that's a line I haven't seen before. That's an open pore I haven't seen before. There's a hair coming out of a place that there shouldn't really be a hair coming out of a place. Like, when did that happen? Like, I was perfect and then I woke up overnight and it was gone. Like, all of a sudden, you just notice it, don't you?
Yeah, it's the Nanny McPhee whiskers for me. Where did they come from? Honestly. And it's like literally overnight, I swear I plucked it and then suddenly they're there.
Totally.
And it's like not just one. There's like a rogue 5 and you're like, how? Where?
I'm so glad it's not just me because then you think you've dealt with it and then, I don't know, you're putting your makeup on in like natural light in front of the bathroom window or kitchen window or whatever and then you see it and you're like...
I have to have tweezers all over the house now.
100%.
Do you have to too?
Totally.
I love that.
Yeah, like in every bag going as well because if I'm out and I see something like that can really bring me down because I'm thinking everyone is looking at my moustache.
And this is crazy because I'm exactly the same, but no one can see the damn things because they're so obviously fine. But I'm there kind of pulling it going, I can feel it, it's there. And it like twangs because I'm like pulling it with my nail, which is, I don't know if this is gross or not.
And then it makes it curly.
And then it curls and I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's like ribbon on a Christmas present. Like,
I'm so glad that's not just me.
no, and then I hurt my nail because I'm trying to furiously pull it out, and I'm in a meeting, and then I don't hear what they're talking about, and then someone asks me a question, and I'm like, I wasn't listening because I was pulling on my whisker.
That's so funny. Okay, well, that has made me feel like 10 times better anyway, so I'm glad it's not just me. But, like, nobody prepares you for that sort of stuff. I feel like, you know, there is certain, like, fundamental, like, milestones you'll reach in your life, and people talk about them or talk about them at high level. But the actual things that make a difference day to day, no one talks about, and everyone's keeping it a secret, and I don't know why. Like, I would have felt way more prepared for this had it have been like more of an open conversation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think there's kind of like a bit of a, I don't think a gap in the market is the right term. It's almost like you were saying, no one really is kind of opening up about it. So therefore we don't know what we're going into. And it's a bit like perimenopause and things like that, where, you know, that pre-stage, that post-children stage, we're kind of like stuck in this like abyss where there's not really a lot of support or guidance out there for us guys. And it's really, really peculiar because, you know, the amount of sort of information that's available on social media and like, oh, this is my 5 top tips. But there's nothing, I think, for our kind of stage of life. It is bizarre.
And that topic in itself is wild. And I know actually like menopause generally is getting quite a lot of chat at the moment. There is a lot of traction. So I'm like really like key like people in the public eye are speaking about it, which I think is amazing. It's a shame it has to take that to get something which happens to 50% of the population being spoken about. But even though like everyone's situation in terms of perimenopause, menopause, or just like hormone changes generally are so different. Like, I don't know about you, but now I could be absolutely sweating it on a night and it's freezing cold outside. And the only time I've ever had that before, which is like a regular time to have it, is just after I had the babies. Like, you know, just after you have babies, you get like night sweats, whatever. Now I'll randomly get night sweats now. And I'm like, I'm so not ready for this.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally with you. And it's really bizarre because you, like you say, you're not anticipating it. So you don't know how to deal with it. So it gets you just angry. And then I find that I find it very, very difficult to sleep. You know, it really, and I suffer from insomnia anyway. So it just kind of exacerbates the whole thing. And I really cannot sleep without being cool. Like, and I don't mean it like as in like I'm cool like trendy. I am definitely not. It's more about it needs to be a temperature level, because if it's anywhere above this zone, whatever it is, I am kicking the covers off. I am shirty. I am like, you know, snapping at the cat, like get off, because the cat's like a flaming water bottle, you know. And it just changes your whole survival strategy because you're trying to deal with this new thing because there's nothing to really. And then there's everything else like to think about along with that. Like I have absolutely no idea in reality if I'm perimenopausal or not. I'm like fairly young to be like perimenopausal, even though like I know like it runs in my family to be like slightly younger, I guess. But I just can't attribute these sort of like symptoms to anything else, you know. And then you team that with other things, and look, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't desperately be sad if I, you know, didn't have periods anymore or things like that. You know, I'm done having children. It's such a mixed emotion, isn't it? That this journey that, and I'm sure that we'll go on, is because, like you say, like there's a plus side, but then the actual kind of journey to that is sometimes quite a daunting one because there is unknowns. Yeah. And the experiences are so unique and so different. And you don't know whether it's a health change or whether it is, you know, that evolution of your body. And it's, you know, there's so much to it. And like you were saying, I'm so glad people are talking about it. But I think they're talking about it in their communities, which is great. But also maybe for us, it's something that we should start talking more about as well. Totally. And not just for us, but it's for
like our children as well. And I think we've spoken about before, like the importance of it, ensuring our children like know about like what's going on in the world, what's going on with our bodies, what's going on with somebody else's body.
Yeah.
And like for me, like especially I feel like having 2 boys, I want to make sure that I'm setting them up for their future life where they're maybe going to have a wife and children, and I want them to, you know, want to learn and, you know, be able to sympathise to some degree and understand.
Just be there.
Yeah, and just be for their friends. You know, they're going to have female friends. They're going to be 13 years old. They're going to be going through all of this. Like, I want them to be compassionate enough. I want them to be understanding. I want them to be mature enough, you know, not just shy away. Because I don't know about you, but when I was, you know, younger, like a teenager, I don't really feel like any of the guys knew anything about what women sort of went through, I guess. And it was almost a bit like of a, she started her period, or she's on her period, or whatever. Even jestfully in conversations, it would be like a dig to say somebody was on their period. They were moody. Oh, she must be on her period.
Oh, that kind of comment really triggers me. That, and it's not that it has happened to me, but I just feel that is such a common, like, you know, sort of misogynistic, sexist dig that, you know, generationally used to be quite, you know, common.
Yeah.
Oh, have you taken your hormone meds?
Yeah.
You know, things like that, which I think is appalling. But going back to what you were saying about the boys, I think that's incredibly powerful to hear someone say that, because I think a lot of people aren't sure how to approach that as a mum, how to be there for their boys, you know, things like that. And I think it's great to hear that you want to help them navigate that so they can be their best selves in those situations to the people that matter to them. And I think you're right. When we were at school, really the only exposure boys had was at secondary school when we were doing sex ed. And it was all the cringy stuff. Oh, I'm not listening to that. It was about girly bits. I don't want to know about that.
And then they whip out a banana.
And then they get, oh, God, the banana lesson. Jeez.
I hope sex education, PhD, or whatever it's called now, has moved on since those times.
I feel there is bananas still involved, though. I do feel that is still a thing.
We can hold out hope.
Yeah.
But no, I really just want to make sure that, like, I'm doing my bit for my future daughter-in-law, my future granddaughter.
I love that.
My future somebody, you know.
Yeah.
And even now, don't get me wrong, like, my children are curious, and I try not to shy away from, like, feeding them information.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's age appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah. And that in itself, like, that makes me feel old. Like, I could only have, like, imagined when I was younger thinking about having to have these conversations with my children. It's really bizarre, actually.
Have you had it where, as you've been growing up, sort of with the kids, being a mum, have you had it where you thought, God, my mum was like, how did my mum do that? Or, God, what, like, I've ragged my mum before and said, how did you do this? Like, it's incredibly hard, you know, whatever, like, I am so sorry. I was such a hard, you know, kid because of this, you know, I didn't, you know, you don't anticipate the pressures and the decisions you have to make around how you're going to say something, what you're going to say. Do you know what I mean? There's so many levels and there's so many layers, like you're saying about age appropriateness, but you want to be honest. You don't want to tell them a lie, but then at the same time, you know, you don't want them to know everything because they don't need to know at that time everything. You know, there's a lot to it. Did you ever sort of like compare your mum and go, God, I wonder how she did it?
So now, and it feeds into many of the conversations we've had already about like expectation of doing it all. Like both my parents worked full time when I was growing up. We didn't necessarily go to like every childcare, wrap care, or whatever under the sun like my children do. You know, our house was always clean. Our washing was always done. We always had fresh cooked meals. And that is what makes me think, how on earth? Yeah. Because at the time, it didn't feel like that was like a stressful environment to live in.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine now. But interestingly, like my mum says to me often, as she sees the sort of things that we do with the children, she says, God, it makes me feel so bad that we didn't do as much with you as you do with your children. You're so attentive, you're so patient, you give them so much time. And I'm thinking, well, I sort of feel like I've got a bit more time than you did, but it's just funny how things change. And like, I guess for her it's hindsight, but in the moment you do the best that you can, and that's how I feel.
And I think that's all you can do. And I think a lot of people, it's interesting your mum saying that, if I'm honest, because of obviously what she must have had in terms of external pressures on her as well, with being a woman in the workplace and being expected to be the mum and the housekeeper and things like that, you know, because unless you did have a spectacular husband that did help you out, you know, generationally, that generation still were very much expected to run the house. So she would have had a lot more pressure on her. But the fact that you're saying that, you know, you experienced this, there was no, not fault, but that, you know, there was certainly a lifestyle that you never really saw a kink. You know, that's incredible that she's done that. And to now look at it and go, oh, I wished I'd done more. You know, that's amazing that she still doesn't sort of recognise what she's done.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? But that is just how it all works. And even these conversations that we're having and like having to like process these thoughts, that in itself makes me feel old.
Yeah, because we're looking at things in a, well, I mean, the one that we're even having this conversation probably.
Yeah.
But we're like, we're looking at things from a different perspective and like appreciating sort of maybe the smaller things in life. Whereas, you know, if we'd gone out for a drink maybe in our 20s, you know, it'll be all drama or gossip or like, you know, like fun stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, whereas now it's a little bit more deeper and
totally
emotional.
And don't get me wrong, like I'll track back to this weekend I've just had. I really felt like I was like clawing at like my youth then. Like I was giving it large, like having a great time. And I do feel now that, and I don't know about you, when I go out sometimes I really like crave that feeling that I maybe used to get when I was younger, and I'm like seeking it out, like seeking out that joy, that fun, that like let loose sort of mentality. And like I don't know if that makes me feel good or bad, but I feel like going in with loads of intent to have a good time.
But I think that's something we all will experience because we had such euphoric joy, fun, because we were carefree. We didn't have the restrictions or the, you know, the financial commitment or the, you know, family commitments that we have now. So you have a slight, and I don't want to use the word oppression, we're sort of more tied down.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was fun and free and, you know, living life and loving life and, you know, having that joyful time. Whereas now we've got a little bit more to it. So it's less often. So you kind of want to like completely go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's that one like little ray of hope that you've got that you can just let it all go and
like,
have fun.
Go hard or go home.
Yeah.
Basically. But then you say that, right? You go hard and then you go home and then you can't get up the next day because you've hurt your back or you've pulled your hip out. And that for me now, honestly, like these like minor ailments or these little injuries that just keep cropping up time and time again, like, oh my goodness, like if I lean over the bath to wash my hair, I then cannot stand back up without doing that typical hand on the back, like, like trying to get up. I've seized up. Like often I wake up in the night and I'm like rolling from side to side because like I've gone stiff. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's really scary, isn't it? I tell you one thing, I don't know, did you ever used to wear heels?
Used to wear heels,
yes. So I was definitely, because I'm small, I'm only 5'1".
Yeah.
So I used to always be in heels. All the time, stilettos, like pumps, the lot. Like, I was always in a heel. At work, you know, when we used to go out. Whereas now, I couldn't even. Not even for a wedding, not even for a restaurant. Like
not even for a wedding?
No, I couldn't because I literally have them on for 10 minutes and I'm like, no. Because I'm just like, no.
Put them on for a photo?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
A photo. Okay. But then I'm like, kick them off. Like if I went to a party or something or a wedding or something, they'd be off within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's no point. And as much as they're beautiful to look at, I've kind of got to that stage where I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, if you want to judge me for not wearing heels, that's fine. Go ahead, because I ain't doing it. My bunion is telling me no.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say no.
But does that not pull you back to how we like started this conversation, in the sense that you feel like you've lost your style, I guess, with age?
Yeah.
It's like you're not even now prepared to wear something which is uncomfy.
Yeah. But then it sends you into, okay, well, what do I wear then? What do I wear? Just flats? Do I wear a sandal? Do I wear a wedge? You know, all these sort of like alternatives now where I'm like, where I'd naturally go to a heel. And now I'm like, yeah, no. You know, what do I do? Because I don't want to go too casual. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you lose that whole sort of process that you're used to, kind of in your calculation of what you'd normally wear. It's gone. Poof. Gone. Yeah. I have no idea now. Absolutely no idea. What bag? What goes in my bag? What goes in my shoes? No idea.
Totally. And I feel like we're circling back round to the clothing thing, but it's really making me think about like certain like scenarios where I find that like even worse. So I'm just preparing to go on holiday, and then like you're gathering your holiday clothes and you're thinking, does like denim shorts and a top on an evening look too casual? Does that look too young?
Funny, isn't it?
Do I want to wear a maxi dress? Does that look a little bit too old and proper? Like I'm chilling here, like I'm on my holidays.
Yeah.
You know, is that top appropriate? Is that not appropriate? It's like so much to think about, which I don't want to think about on top of everything else. And then you get into the whole, how much makeup is too much makeup?
Yes.
For the period of
yes.
the life you're in. And I know you said it like, I don't know how I wear my makeup now, but you know, you go full circle with makeup, I find. Like you don't wear very much, and then you wear loads, and then you pull it back again. And then you get to the point where you wear so much makeup, you look even older than you do when you don't wear makeup.
But also the trends at the moment are little. Like there's not much, I mean, it's all skin, isn't it? But you know, when we were younger, it was very much eyeliner, eyeshadows, you know, blending and all the rest of it. Whereas now it's a lot more subtle. And I'm like, okay, I can do, how do I do that? I want to do that. And, you know, I've been asking you about eyelashes and things like that, because I'm like, I don't know, I want to know how to do this stuff.
So the funniest thing is, and I see this online frequently, is when they like throw back to makeup of the time. So, you know, when I was at school, let me ask you. So think back to when you were at school, like what was like the foundation brand that everyone was wearing, or what was the makeup style that everyone was doing at the time?
Yeah, it was definitely Rimmel. Like ours was a Rimmel, like a red top. Everybody had it. And it was like bronzer. Everybody had bronzer on. And it was lip gloss, like sheer lip gloss, you know, like gummy, like lip gloss.
And like that Tide line, like that orange line that went all the way around your chin.
And it was just the bronzer just everywhere. Like bronzer down. Can you remember that bronzer like that used to have like the glitter in, and used to do it like all over your arms?
I feel like that sort of stuff has had a resurgence actually, but just in a better form. But for me, like when we were at school, like the number one thing everyone had was that Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. Did you ever?
No, I think you're a bit younger than me.
Yeah, we're slightly different.
Yeah.
So it was this tiny pot of basically like whipped foundation.
Ooh.
Like imagine like, I don't know, the consistency of Angel Delight, something like that, right? And you'd put it on and it would be like the cakiness of all cakiness, right? And then you had the skinniest of brows, loads of bronzer still, maybe some like white eyeliner.
Oh, the white, yes, in the corners and things. Yeah.
And it's just hilarious when you think back to those sort of things. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful that the trend right now is minimal, because it fits into my like really like short period of time I have on a day to get ready. But even when you think about a few years ago and everyone was caking and baking, do you remember that?
Yeah, the baking, yeah. That was quite a drag thing though. I think that came from the drag, like, because they bake, don't they?
Like, that's the powder?
Yeah, it's basically when they put it on and they let it bake. Fine. They sit and they kind of let it set, don't they?
So I remember when I got married and I done my like makeup thing, and she was like, what look are we going for? And I was like, oh, well, you know, just like glammy, natural. She's like, okay, so we're not baking then? And I was like, huh? Like, what? And she was like, oh, you know, just imagine like Kim Kardashian, that thing that she always does. I was like, oh, no, not that. And like, as I said, like, I'm grateful for it now. But when I look at, you know, how like the younger people are doing things or how they did do things, but I think, oh, God, what did our parents think when we were whacking on that Angel Delight?
Oh, honestly, that's such, just even that comment is so funny because I sit here like, and I'm thinking, God, I do this with my own children, what my parents used to do to me. You know, it's so our 22-year-old, God bless her, has a very eclectic taste in music, which I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
And again, but some of it, I'm like, dear Lord, what is that noise? But that is what my parents used to say to me.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I've become my parents. Like, it's come round full circle. And I think it happens with, you know, your mum and dad. What's that you've got on? What's that makeup? Like some of the outfits, I remember particularly when we were on holiday and you take like, you know, you go to Tammy or you go to like eat at, you know, one of the...
Tammy?
Yeah, like Topshop or whatever. Miss Selfridge, did you just get it?
I'm still shopping Miss Selfridge.
Okay, all right. Because I don't know if I'm showing my age there. But, you know, we go and get all our like holiday outfits. And I remember my dad sat waiting for us all to go to dinner. And we'd all come out and he's like, what are you wearing? Get a cardigan on, you know.
But that's the thing, do you ever get that like thing now where like you're doing something like really adult or like you're really adulting, acting like a parent, and in the back of your head you're thinking, yeah, just waiting for the adult to turn up. Oh no, I'm the adult. I'm the adult in this situation. Like, what the hell?
Do you know, I get that. I do. I totally get what you're saying where I'm like, oh, can someone else do that bit? I don't want to do that bit. I want to be fun. I want to be like back in doing no decision making. Oh, do I have to decide dinner?
I know, when you realise you are the responsible person in the room, and then it all sort of like dawns on you, all the doors close in, you're like, oh right, this lands on me right now. Like,
everybody's looking at you and you're like,
no. And I'm like, I'm not old enough for this. And I sometimes do think that I really flip between that feeling of I'm not old enough for this and God, I feel so old.
Yeah, no, I think I totally feel that because it's such a mixture of I'm quite accepting of the journey that I'm on. Like I said to you, you know, when we were talking about kind of the photos from way back when like things like that, I don't regret anything. So I'm kind of, I feel that, you know, I'm happy where I am in the journey. But yeah, there are some things where you're just like, oh, geez, really? Oh man, I used to like moan at my mum and dad for doing that. And now I'm doing it. Put your clothes away, tidy your shoes up. What, do they live there? No, they don't. We put them in the cupboard. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old.
So what are you then like looking forward to, I guess, about like being older? I won't say old because it's really hard to define what old is, but like what stage or phase or thing are you looking forward to doing, or something that you're looking forward to being more acceptable as a slightly older person? Because I know often people are like, oh, I can't wait to get away with that because I'm older. Like, what is it?
That's so funny. I think actually it's kind of what we're doing now is honestly we've done sort of the family, the relationship build. So that building work and that framework's kind of not done. I should never say that because we always are working on it. But I'm looking forward to that stage where there's more fun because we're not tied down by school terms. We're not tied down by, you know, certain restrictions that come from that younger end of a family kind of thing. I think that's what I'm more looking forward to, is just having a little bit more fun and adventure in life.
Yeah.
And whether that's with Lawrence, whether it's without Lawrence, whether it's just getting up to mischief, like, because you're older, you can say what you finally want to say because you don't care anymore.
That's what I mean. You should get away with it because you're like an old grumpy person.
But also maybe you value yourself more because it's like, I don't know about you, but every decade I've gone through, I've learned a little bit more. I've felt a little bit more solid and valuable as a person. I value myself more. I respect myself more as I've gone up the scale. So I think by the time I hit like 50 or 60, I mean, the world's got it coming, really, because I don't care what people say.
Just let loose.
Just
tell everything exactly what's on your mind.
Honey, honestly, my 20s and 30s were spent in Soho with a ton of gay men, and they have really taught me how to really value myself. And there's a lot of things that I think, because they have had to go through something that, you know, us as straight people haven't, where they've got to literally risk losing their loved ones to come out as their true selves. So when you see people in these environments where they're just celebrating who they are and they're just owning it, they're being there, that, you know, I'm so here for it. I'm so there for them, going, yes, you do that. No, own it, do it. Like, why not? We're all here for a short time. You know, we're not here forever. So have a fun time.
And I definitely think that does come from age, because the older you get, the more exposure you've had to certain situations, like the more loss, the more like reality, like whatever. It just makes you put things into perspective and not sweat the small stuff so much. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, as you say, like, I'm here for a short time, good time, and I'm just going to get on and do it my way.
And I think that's no judgment thing is so important. And having the right people around you. I know we probably keep circling back to this point probably every episode, but it's all about relying on your gut and knowing who to trust to be around to have a great time. You know, be with those people who will celebrate you in the room when you're not there. You know, have the fun with people who make you feel good, that energize you in the right way. If you dread going to meet someone for lunch, if you dread going around to someone's house for dinner, why are you going? Why are you doing it? Don't waste that time. And as you get older, I think you're more willing to say no, and you're more willing to go, do you know what? No, I'm not going to let that happen again. You know, I don't deserve that, or that is not something that's going to happen to me, because I actually would rather to do nothing than have to cope with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. I think you're able to make those decisions, like you say, because you've been exposed to more. You know, you realise what your worth is, and
so are you
embracing,
like, I was going to say, growing up? Are you embracing growing up? Yeah. Because obviously we've touched on, like, the negatives. So, like, not feeling like you quite know where your style is, and maybe actually that's something that we need to focus on ourselves and actually, like, really put effort into, because you want to feel good, and we know how you look or how you dress can really impact your mood. You know, like, what are we embracing? Like, we've got grey hair, we've got wrinkles, we've got bad pores, we've got whiskers, you know, we're having night sweats, we've got insomnia, like, all of these things which, you know, can really get you down. Like, what are we embracing more than anything?
We've got each other. This is the thing, that the fact that you and I can have a talk about it, a laugh about it, share with listeners as well, who, you know, probably are going through the same thing, and go, do you know what? This is happening to all of us. So don't feel paranoid. Obviously, it's going to change and you know, the way we feel it, because we're obviously growing with it, and it will get us frustrated, but we have each other. And that's one of the main things, that we can go through it together and go, oh my God, and have a laugh about it. And if it does stress you out, because there will be people, I think, who probably will find things more challenging, more worrisome than others. And it's just really being there and going, do you know, I know it's shit, you're okay. Let's figure this out together. Yeah. You know, we're not alone in this. That's the main thing, is that we're all going through the same stuff together. Yeah. And I think that's what I really want to embrace, is that as I grow older, you know, my circle of, I don't know if you've had the same, but my circle of friends has kind of shrunk.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And the quality is stayed, which is amazing. And that quality comes with that support. So, you know, as you get older, you've got this solid ride or die crew that you can always go, oh, this has happened. And it doesn't matter what this is. Yeah. Whether it's a whisker that's really pissed you off that day, or if you didn't get that job you went for, or, you know, you're having a little bit of trouble with either, you know, the kids or your husband or whatever it is. Like, I just feel that when you've got people around you who you and your gut trust, that's when life becomes great. Yeah.
And it's just not feeling like lost. It's embrace it, have the conversations, do what we're, like, doing now. And that, like, that's what we keep saying, is like, we want to be having the conversations, or we know we're actually having the conversations that everyone else is having or wanting to have that, but they're too scared to have. And it's about, giving people a safe space to like agree with us, feel seen, or empower people to then have those conversations with like their groups of friends and like talk about it. So, we really want to just encourage everybody, like where possible, like share with us what you want to talk about. Let's talk about the things that you're talking about and we can have the conversation together.
Yeah, I love that vibe of like a community. Like we're all a tribe.
Yeah.
And we're all in it together, and like we've kind of all got it maybe, but we're all kind of just finding those moments.
Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We're not quite sure, are we?
But that's what we're here for, and that's what, when we started this, going back to the first conversation we had, literally right at the beginning, it was all about that, wasn't it? It was the fact that, we were like going, I'm sure other people are having these conversations, not just us, surely, and that's where this was born from, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was.
So I'm still feeling a little bit old, but I'm gonna embrace it. My hair of the dog has made me feel a little bit.
Go on, you girl.
A little bit better, but we need to just remind everybody to follow, subscribe, like DM us if you want to chat.
Yeah, we'd love to hear some messages.
Yeah,
maybe we should do some polls, Erin. Maybe we should see what people like do the whole like this or that.
That would be
That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah. Look out for them guys.
Have the conversations that people want to talk about. But anyway, lovely catching up with you.
You too,
As
babe.
always. See you on the next one.
Cheers.